Hi and welcome to my office. Today's subject is all about filming wildlife. But the techniques that I'm going to show you today will also work for photographing wildlife as well. I have two different situations. I'll run you through the first one. Photographing bees coming onto flowers. It's a toughie. There's a lot of things I've got to run you through. It can be quite a challenge, a really big challenge. But we set ourselves up properly, we've given ourselves all the opportunity to capture something beautiful. Alright, so this is the snow daisy. I'm pretty sure that's right. I didn't check it before I come out here, but I'm hopeful that I'm right. It's native plant to Australia. Now it's out now, as you can see. Bees are in force around, but there's so many of them, you're not going to get bees on all of them. So you're going to have to check around the place until you find one that has bees coming to it regularly. So this is what I'm doing. I found this plant here, this shrub that's got bees coming on it, and I'm watching to see whether they're regularly coming here, which they are. I've got a few coming around here now. I've done my bit of filming before I talk to you, so finally I think I have an image that will be fantastic, a sellable image, one that I can put in my library for my own use for that documentary that I'm making on this whole reserve. I've certainly got a library of bees landing onto flowers, but they're never quite right. There's always something I'm not happy about. I'm hopeful that this time that I've got it. Actually, I'm pretty sure that I've got it. Right, so let's run you through how I've set up. Now, we've found the bees are on here. We're watching where they're consistently going to. They're not going to go to every flower. They're going to go to certain flowers that have a real strong smell of the pollen that's on there. So a lot of them will be not quite as strong, but the really strong ones they're going to go to. So that's what I was watching out for. Consistently landing on different bunches of flowers. So I had 4 on this side where they were going to, and a few on the other, and a couple up the top. Well, up the top's no good for me because of exposure problems. I wanted one that was going to give me a neutral background as well. Crucial, because we want separation. We want that flower to be the dominant part of the image, to be on it. We don't want the background to be distracting. So we can't have any bright spots on there, sun bursting through. An overcast day is always the best thing for flowers, especially white ones. They're so reflective. They make it really challenging. But anyway, so this particular flower was good because they were consistently going there, and my background worked out beautiful. There's no distractions there, so I've got this nice separation. You're only attracted to the flowers, not the background. Now the next challenge is wind. Soon as you get a bee come to land, I guarantee you'll get wind. That's all the challenge of it. Now how I've combated this wind problem over the years. Alright, stop laughing, we're not talking about flatulence. I'm only talking about the breeze, strong breeze, blowing the leaves and stuff, and you're not listening to me. So let's just go on with the story. As I always tie a stick. So I shove the stick into the ground and I tie it to the branch. So that's helped me a lot. I'm only getting a little bit of movement every now and then if the wind comes through, as long as the wind's not too strong. And then it's just sitting back, waiting, keeping your eye on your exposure, making sure you're not going to get blowouts. It is so hard with those reflective flowers to get everything perfect. If the background's too dark, you'll get noise in the background, so you have to be wary of that all the time. Trying to cut down the reflection, even though it's an overcast day and the sun's actually coming from over there, not up here, they're still so reflective. So it's a balance. So that's how I've combated and managed to get a good image. Looking at my background, make sure it's not distracting, but I have separation with my subject. I've cut down the amount of movement from the wind, moving the branch, by putting a stick in the ground and tying it to it, helping out a lot. So I think we've covered everything for here. I've got myself a nice image, and we can move on to something else that I've been wanting to get for a long time. I've got some great images of this particular bird. I might as well tell you now before I shift. We're having a look at the spotted pardalite. I have a huge library of them. I've got some fantastic stuff, but I wanted something with a little bit more drama, a bit more interest besides the bird landing on a branch. Right, well, let's stop talking about it and move over to that area, and I'll meet you there. Well, this location is a toughie. As you can see, the sun's behind me and it's blowing me out on my back. I have trees covering me, so it's just typical of a forest environment. Tough situation. Now, I came to check on a fauna camera that I have on the other side of the bank, and as you just saw there, I spotted a spotted pardalite landing on a branch up there. Then it dropped down onto this branch that's sticking out of the bank next to this fern here. Then it flew into its burrow that it has in the bank. Now, they have a nest at the end of their burrow, which the burrow is usually a foot or so deep. Banks of creeks, rivers, fallen trees in the root balls, and also wombat burrows they're going to. So I walked down here, it was around 4 o'clock, and it was a clear blue sky, no clouds. So it's coming through over there, hitting the water, reflecting light onto that branch, and the reflections were dancing. I've been after something like that for a long time, not just with the spotted pardalite, but any bird. Just adds drama to the image, and it just looks fantastic. You know where you are, you know that there's water underneath, you don't have to show it. So I sat down and I watched what happened when the bird was turning up. What was it doing? Feeding its chicks. Every time it came back, every 10 minutes or so, it had food in its mouth. Now, if they're not feeding chicks, they're just sitting on eggs, you can almost forget about hanging around trying to get this image, because it'll only be every hour or hour and a half or so that they'll turn up, and you'll never get the perfect light hitting the water and reflecting on that branch. But because they were here, and there's also another nest on the other side there. You can see the birds come flying in there, the scrub wrens, they've got a nest right beside there. Pardalite's burrow. Anyway, so I sat down, I studied, I watched what happened. Put the effort in because they were feeding. So every 10 minutes or so they were coming back, giving me an opportunity to get a great shot, great image. Alright, so sun has to negotiate a whole heap of trees through here. The light's going to change every few minutes, or even less than that, every 15 seconds. It's going to change. It'll be there and disappear and then come back again. Alright, so what I had at 4 o'clock, the background was blown out. That's nature. 99% of the time, you cannot choose your background. You're stuck with what you got, and you just got to work with it sometimes. Great image of the bird landing on a branch or something else with a shitty background. Delete. But anyway, I waited and I watched what happened. So as time went on, every 10 minutes things change. Things are changing. Finally we get to 4:30. The background is finally nice and dark. It's not a distraction anymore. I'm getting a little bit of separation with that branch. The branch started getting lit up properly, but I wasn't getting the reflection of the water yet. So the bird kept turning up, but I was waiting for that right moment. And it happened. Perfect conditions around 5 o'clock. I get this beautiful shaft of light coming through, hitting just the bank here, reflecting the light back, illuminating the branch properly, but also the light was bouncing beautiful, but no bird. So I come back the next day, around 3 o'clock, watch what happened. Background's blown out for most of that time, so it's not very good. Sun comes in different positions. Finally we get to pretty much the same time as I had on the first day. Bang. There it is. Beautiful light. Just need my bird to turn up. Everything's working for me. I'm thinking I'm going to lose this any second now. And all of a sudden I get a bird turn up. Beautifully lit up. I get a lot of reflections. It's not perfect. I would like it a lot stronger than that. But I just thought, beautiful. I've got something here and I can come back tomorrow because the conditions were going to be exactly the same. Beautiful clear skies, no clouds. I went home and I threw up right up until the morning. So about 9 hours of throwing up. Had a type of gastro, and it was bloody horrible. And we've got the spotted pardalite coming back. Just watch it fly down. There you go. That's what happened. Beautiful little bird. They're my favourite small bird. They're one of the smallest birds in Australia and one of the most colourfulest. That was the male then. So yeah, I was pretty crook, so I couldn't come back the next day to have another shot and see whether I could get something better. But I got a good image, something a bit better than I've had in the past. Simply a bird just landing on the branch and flying into its burrow. A bit more drama to it. You know where the image is taken. You know it's just above the water because of those reflections. So it's adding a story to the image as well as having nice reflections firing everywhere. Alright, so that's enough for me today. If you'd like to subscribe, click on the subscription button down below and you'll get notification whenever I do anything else. Now we have end screens, so there will be a link to a video here, as well as you can go to my channel from here somewhere as well. So you can click on that, take you straight to my channel, or my icon down below this video in the description section. I've done a hell of a lot of videos this year because I've had more time to be able to do them. I'm not studying the Agile as aggressively as I've had in the past. I don't need to do that as much anymore. So I've been flogging these videos out. I think I've more than doubled this year. I've also been able to write my books, as most of you know, but for those who don't, I've been writing a book on the Agile Antechinus. I started with the female side of the story, so it's Agile Antechinus, life as a female. I've just completed the male side of the story. That is just waiting for me to click the button for it to be published, which I may do after this video. Go home and check it over again, make sure that I am really happy, and press that button. I'll be doing a lot more videos coming up before the end of the year, tons of stuff, so watch out for them. If you subscribe, you'll get the notification. Anyway, I'll put the links to my books down below there. They're also available as an ebook if it's too expensive for you. And thank you to those that replied to my last video asking whether it was too dear. I knew it would be. It's a shame, but some beautiful photographs in there to go through, and they illustrate the stories. So they're related. They're all related to stories, and they show that what I'm saying is right. It is accurate information. Right. Just remember, If you don't do, you don't get. So get out there and start photographing and filming wildlife. I'm all blown out. That's the end of it. I'll leave you with a couple of snippets of things that happened as I first sat down here before I started to talk to you. All right, see ya. And it's a beautiful spot. Very peaceful here. Lots of birds singing. I've had fish coming up underneath that foam there. And trying to get something. And can you see those little pair of nippers coming up onto a branch there? That is a spiny lobster is what it is. I'd say it's putting its eggs out. They tend to do that this time of year. It's about this time of year. They climb up on branches that are in the water and release their eggs.